Bum 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 bum
Nappa! Nappa! Hi, Vegeta!
Hello, Nappa. What's up with you today?
Well, we should go to the bug planet, Vegeta. No, Nappa!
Nappa, if it'll shut you up for 5 minutes, then fine.
Yay! Bug planet! Bug planet!
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. This is your best friend, Tim, and your not-so-good friend, Nathaniel.
Rude. I'm Batman. Anyways, we're going to be talking about taking over the world. What?
Again.
I don't know. Did we talk about that last time? Not that much.
We kind of touched on it. If I remember correctly, you started talking about it, and we said vote Nathaniel 2032.
Yep.
And I said, I just don't want to have that kind of power because getting people to do my will is just an absolute stupid.
Power. Unlimited power. Anyway, I guess taking over the world, you would start... here's what my plan to take over the world it would be. First of all, obviously, you need to become rich and famous. Or, actually, not really obviously. It's more of a situation where, how do you get your name out there? And for other people to recognize that you have power. One way that or at least my plan to do it, is in order to gain at least a decent amount of money, is by becoming an engineer. That's just for my own personal preference. It's more of a hobby of mine, really. What I want to do, actually, though, is join in politics. And I'm actually going to be doing that very soon. I'm going to talk with one of my old government teachers. She's part of the student council. And where I'm basically going to see if I can volunteer, become House Representative, Senator, then President in 2032. Vote for me.
No. I will not be voting for you. I'm going to be voting for the person who is not you.
Wow.
Because you know what? I don't want you to take over the world. You're crazy.
Why not? I am crazy. I'm Batman.
You is crazy person.
Yes, I am.
Well.
What's your plan?
Okay. I believe I already discussed this on the previous podcast.
But if you had to take over the world, what would it be like?
Well, you bring up a good point that anyone who has all the money is basically the one in power.
Trump?
No. So, because whoever has that kind of money, it's all about corruption. I've seen many YouTube videos on what it takes to really rule people, and the way to rule people is to have the most amount of exchangeable value.
Not really exchangeable value. What I've kind of noticed, in order to become a leader, you need to be a good server. And so that's...
Like a computer server?
Yeah. The best. Nerd. But anyways, so in my experience, it's like, how do you become a leader? You have to... you just have to get a lot of experience talking with people. Ew, I know. Ew. No. I did like 6 months at a call center. Ain't gonna do that again. No, it's not ain't gonna do that. It's more like, it's a very respectable job, and it's a tough one, but just people are idiots. You just need to learn to deal with them. And once you learn to deal with them, then you can manipulate them to however you please. And that's how you become a person in power.
What you're describing is someone who is kind and democratic, even though you're obviously not going to be that kind of a ruler. If I had to describe you and the kind of government that you want, it would be a monarchy.
The best.
Which... honestly, is how I would rule as well, because I like to live under the philosophy of, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
I know, right? Seriously. Actually, in my opinion, it's not if you want something done right, do it yourself. It's more like, if you want something done effectively, manipulate others to do it for you. But yeah, in the first part, yeah, I guess I would have that same philosophy. But I'm Batman, so I get other people to do my will, so it's okay. Except for, fighting people at night, but, that's a hobby of mine. Yeah.
I wouldn't even have other people doing my will. I would have computers and robots doing my will.
Then you're Dr. Eggman, then.
I'm okay with that. Because
Sanic.
at least Eggman has an army that obeys him.
That's true. Well,
And it won't betray him because they're robots.
well, technically, people are motivated by simple, things, simple material things, such as if you say, "Hey, I'm going to pay you in order to fight that guy." Most people would actually be like, "Yeah, sure." Depends on how much you're getting paid for. For instance, military people, that's not really their. It's more of a sense of duty, I guess. But I'm not bashing on any military people. It's more just like, what can you do to motivate people? That's kind of where I'm coming from. It doesn't take too much in order to motivate people.
Except people are greedy.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
they're going to continually ask more and more and more of what you have.
That's true. People look for opportunities for advancement, and I guess.
Stupid humans.
Yes, we'll just go with that. Anyways, so Tim, you were talking about your method for taking over the world?
Yes. The first thing I would try to do is accumulate as much wealth as possible. And from what I have seen and read, you have to have certain keys to power. These keys can be people, they can be resources, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. For example, if your kingdom just happens to be in the middle of the freaking desert, one of the biggest keys to power is going to be the water resource.
Exactly.
So if you have control of all the water, you're the one in power.
What are you talking about?
But again, you have to have people who can guard it. You have to have people who can manage it. You can't rule alone.
Exactly, and which is why you need a couple of people to do things for you. It's not just a singular person thing, and it's tough.
But in my system, I wouldn't have other people doing those things.
Because you have robots, because you're a nerd.
I would have the robots doing those things because as long as the robots don't break down, and I have engineers who can fix those robots, those robots are the keys to power, and they won't betray me.
I guess. I don't know. Do you know who the best person to take over the world would be?
Me?
No. Do it. Fulfill your destiny, Anakin. He actually is the most effective ruler. He took over the entire galaxy with technically robots, clones who were trained from birth on how to do things. But, for the most part, they listen to your commands. So,
but they're not robots.
Yeah, they're not robots, but they're close. There's only been one person or one stormtrooper in recorded history, but he wasn't technically a clone. Is in episode 7 with, what should we call it, his face?
His name is Finn.
Finn, thank you. It was like FN21 something, I don't remember.
2187.
Thank you, you nerd. Yeah, so, other than that, all other stormtroopers don't really betray them, but it technically was a big fault in their master plan. So, you know what? Props to you, Finn. Good job for him.
Along the lines of taking over the world, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years?
Tim, that's a really unrealistic question. Look, I do not have 20/20 vision.
That's clear, by the way. You drive.
Yes, I drive and derive. I'm not a math nerd. Actually, I am a math nerd. I just don't like math. It's weird. Anyways, so let's...
One thing I wanted to talk to you about. Apparently, you have a very wide range of voice acting skills.
Yes, excellent. Do it. So, let's see. Emperor Palpatine, he's mostly like... Now we would look at... Gosh dang it. Emperor Palpatine's voice is very unique. You have to go very low, but...
kind of gargly?
Yeah, gargly. Kind of like that. Not exactly, but it was more like... Anakin, no!
Do it.
Do it. I just like saying do it. Do it! Just do it! Make your dreams come true! Let's see, what are some other ones I can do? Obviously, Nappa from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And, of course, Vegeta, the Super Saiyan. And, I don't know, I have like a whole list. Give me like 25 seconds. And by 25, I mean 4. Alright, here we go. I can do all of the Harry Potter puppet pals. Yes. So, let's see. Snape, Severus Snape, Dumbledore Snape. And then, hey guys, my name's Neville. Here's Ron Weasley. Hagrid. Voldemort, oh Voldemort. I'm Harry Potter, and I am the best wizard in this entire school. I don't know. Those are basically mostly what I can do. I can do a couple others though. But anyways, Tim, what are some things that you can do?
You forgot Hermione.
Hermione. No, that was terrible. Hermione. Dumbledore.
Okay, that's better.
And yeah, that's basically it. I can do a whole bunch, but that's Harry Potter Puppet Pals.
I'm at a bit of a disadvantage in this case because the only real singing or choir that I have done was maybe back in middle school and elementary school.
When I was a young boy.
When I was a young warthog.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I'm just looking at the other list of stuff I can do. Hey, I'm Batman. You want to know my secret identity?
No. No.
No. Then there's, hey, my name's the Joker.
Do you make jokes?
I make a lot of jokes. Anyways, I can also do, Dude, I was wondering which would break first, your spirit or your body?
I have a question really fast.
No.
So if the Joker makes jokes and the Riddler makes riddles, who makes puns?
The pundler?
The punster?
No, I don't like that. What about, it would be riddler and then punner. But punner isn't that great.
How about punnier?
The punniest. I don't know. That's a good question, Tim. Something that should be saved for another time, because you're a nerd.
Says you.
Oh, well. Anyways, so...
Optical drive.
Optical drive. Gosh, dang it, Tim. Yeah. Well, technology. Let's talk about that. Optical drives, they're like made of lasers, and best laser in the galaxy is a lightsaber. Oh, yeah. So, I guess, what would your lightsaber look like? What would your lightsaber be like?
Okay, first off, lightsabers are not lasers.
Well, you're a nerd, so only you would know that. Yeah. The lightsabers are like made of crystal stuff, and it shoots out beams of light that cut people in half. Sort of. Yes, I am right in this case. I think.
No, actually, you're completely wrong.
It's made by the will of the Force, because guess what? Disney changed the canon. Ah! That's my rage against them. Rage against machines.
Yes, the cannon is no longer iron. It's made of steel.
Gosh dang it, Tim. Go home. Anyways, so, my lightsaber, if I had one, it would mostly be, I kind of like a sleeker design, one that looks more rustic, I guess. If you ever looked at Ultra Sabers or Saber Forge or anything like that, the main thing I like is it can't be symmetrical because that just looks too normal. I kind of like the curves, but also mostly black. Black is kind of my thing. Tim likes those really weird designs with all those spikes and stuff. What would yours be like?
Well, if you go onto Saberforge and look at the different lightsabers that they have, my personal choice would be the Black Lotus. Mm-hmm. Although with a couple different little tweaks here and there, because I actually rather like the leather grip, and then I kind of like the whole, what I call the sticky outy bits.
Wow, technical terms from your engineer, Tim.
Hey, at least I know how to build a lightsaber.
I'm actually, excuse you, I am actually building a lightsaber right now. I'm making a Starkiller cosplay, and stupid Disney, they made it not canon, and it's Darth Vader's secret apprentice, and he brought down like a Star Destroyer just using the Force, and he's boss. Anyways, I'm making a lightsaber very similar to his. It's going to be more shiny than his. I'm going to do a little bit of touch-ups, but other than that, I actually bought quite a number of things in order to build it. I'm going to try to build multiple lightsabers, because I'm a nerd too.
Well, at least as far as building lightsabers are concerned, I have the high ground.
High ground.
High ground!
High ground. Anakin, I have the high ground.
High ground!
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of weapons.
High ground.
A couple months ago, we were discussing a show called Ruby.
Ruby. It's RWBY, and it's basically an anime that's not an anime because American people made it, so you can't classify it as an anime. But it has the same style. Yeah.
It is made by the Rooster Teeth Company, who are based in Austin, Texas, but it is in the anime style.
Yep. It has if you watch like the first season, it's kind of hard to watch just because the animation was kind of new to them. But other than that, it has a really wonderful storyline. I highly recommend checking it out. Anyways, so we were talking about, what was it, weapons?
the kinds of weapons we would have if we were in that universe.
You know what? You start off, Tim, because my weapon is way cooler than yours.
It would only be way cooler if it had a freezer inside of it.
Go home, Tim. I'm the one who makes puns here.
Obviously not.
Cut it out. Actually, that's if you had a sword. But anyways, go on.
Well, actually, I do have a sword.
Oh, snap.
No, that's called nunchucks.
No, that's a whip.
That too.
Go home. What would your weapon be like?
Okay. If you're familiar with something called a hook blade,
I'm already hooked.
think of a regular sword, single-bladed, except instead of having just a single blade, it's kind of like having a candy cane on top. Like, think of if you're using a candy cane, except it's made out of steel, and the inside of the candy cane is sharp. But it also has a grip that's surrounded by a handguard, and the handguard is designed in such a way that it can catch another person's blade, and you can use leverage in order to basically win the battle.
He wants to have a minty flavor to his battles. But that thing's already been invented. I believe it's called a Tralsue.
Yes. That's not the interesting part.
Go home. What?
The interesting part is that the hook would actually detach and be connected to the grip via a chain, and I could basically use it as a grapple hook.
What?
Not only that, but
hook me up with that.
The gun part of the sword would be inside the grip, and the barrel would extend out of the guard.
Do a barrel roll.
And it would be a kind of like a machine gun pistol, though not that many bullets per second, because that's a lot of force to take.
Pew pew.
And since we're using dust, I would actually have my right hand have red dust crystals, which, if you're familiar with the lore, that would be fire. And in the left hand, I would have white dust crystals, which are ice.
Well, I personally like making realistic weapons. So
realistic? What are you talking about?
Well, my weapon, just saying. I mean, like, I wouldn't use dusts or anything. I'd actually use bullets because we live in the real world. Come on, Tim, grow up.
We're talking about if we were in that universe.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a weapon that was in the Ruby universe, in this universe, then I would create something different. But anyways, go on. Do you have anything else to add?
Not really. That's the weapon I would use.
Cool. Well, my weapon, it's really kind of confusing to explain, but let's start off with a staff. It is a staff, but it has two full-length swords on the ends of it. So, like, it's a pretty large staff, I would say. Like, it's definitely large, or like, basically 1.5 times taller than I would be, probably, you know, like, maybe 9 feet tall. But the thing is, though, is what it does is it's more like, it has two guns on it, or two barrels at least, and it detaches into two guns and two swords. So basically each sword would, like the blade part of it would be around 4 feet long with a 1 foot grip, and you attach them both together via the handles. But it also has a gun a gun on each of the swords. Basically what then happens is that it's a two gun swords that you can wield Florentine, and it has a counterweight in the middle. And Tim thinks it's extremely unrealistic, but people created those things before me.
The one thing that I will point out among the many absurdities that he just mentioned is that 9 feet long poles
Heck yeah.
are extremely unwieldy to use. And as someone,
that's why you split them into two, Tim.
And as someone who used a 6 foot long pole in lacrosse, I can definitely say your job is going to be a lot more difficult than mine. I will be much more mobile than you.
Well, you're just a weakling.
Weakling who has the ability to swing from building to building.
That is true.
I'm Spider-Man.
Fine.
What now?
I'm Batman. In your face.
Spider-Man beats Batman.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, maybe you should check out Death Battle.
Yeah, I saw Death Battle, and I don't agree with it. Yeah, Batman can... Okay, that is with no prior preparation, just for your own information. If Batman just came up to him on the street and didn't have bug spray with him... Gosh, this is... Yeah.
As opposed to shark spray?
Yeah, shark spray. At least they had it on his helicopter, okay? I mean, it made... No, actually, honestly, it really didn't make sense. Why would you have it on a helicopter? But why... Never mind.
Of the many things to keep on a helicopter, why would you keep shark spray?
Shark spray. Boat dog.
Boat dog. Boat dog. Boat dog.
I don't know why we know that.
Because I showed it to you and it's hilarious.
It's weird. Oh well. So my weapon, it's kind of a unique weapon, but I guess going off of that, if you had a character that would wield that weapon, what would they be like? Or
Well, I can tell you one thing: it would not be wearing high maintenance armor.
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because if you think about it, they're designed for someone who is a lot lighter. If I had to put a class to it, I would say it's more for a thief. Maybe for a knight, like a lower class knight who isn't wearing like hundreds of pounds of armor.
That goes out at night. Night.
Night Stalker.
High ground.
High ground!
Well, I would definitely have the high ground.
420. I have the high ground.
Oh, I know. I would have someone who is a spy, so that they could
Sneak.
sneaky snick.
Snack. Anyways, go on.
I would have them be able to either attach to the hips or attach to the back, kind of like those odd warrior things. Anyway, the spy would be able to bring them out, hook onto buildings, or shoot the hooks out and attach to buildings so that they can swing away really fast. And this person would specialize in pretty close quarter combat, since I'm using just machine gun pistols, that sort of thing. So, what about you? What would you put that character as?
Well, for my weapon, okay, it's kind of weird. I have like two different playing styles that I love. The main one that I love playing at, just in games and stuff like that, is stealth. For instance, the character I always play at in Dungeons & Dragons, and any character that has full customizable abilities, I create this character. It is a 6'4" black male character named Tiffany. And so the thing is, though, is that he's so intimidating that nobody can talk back to him when he says his name. So everyone's like,
If I might interject,
And who the hell are you?
I am known by many names. Mountain Slayer, Thunder Lion, the Chocolate Axe. But you may call me Tiffany.
Tiffany, huh? That's a pretty masculine name.
Shouldn't be. It's a woman's name.
Okay, I don't know how to talk to you.
Good, then you can shut up and listen.
that's from SAO Abridged, by the way, episode 2. So it's wonderful. But my character, he likes playing, or I like playing him when I'm doing stealth stuff. He's also a very long-range character. So if you have like an army of 100, what he basically does is he snipes people from afar, and nobody will ever know that he ever came into that vicinity.
But then my character gets up really close to you and steals your stuff, because I'm a thief.
And I'm Batman. Oh, well, but anyways, my character, he's like the most boss character ever. But anyways, for the weapons that I'm using, I would probably personally do that, just because I like having a range between long and short range weapons. I used to do the sport where I would actually go Florentine, which is wield 2 swords. Problem is that that's terrible for long-range combat. Whenever I went against somebody with a 12-foot glaive or a spear or something like that, I basically almost always lost. So if I just turned my swords into 2 guns, then boom, it's problem solved. Just like Indiana Jones, that one scene where that ninja swinging his sword around, and Indiana Jones is like, pew.
Maybe you just suck at fighting.
Ouch, no, I'm pretty dang good at fighting. Thank you very much. It's just I want something more versatile than just 2 swords. But I have beaten a lot of people with 2 swords.
I'm sure they appreciated that.
Yes, they did.
And now for something completely different.
And now for something completely off topic.
There is a game I wanted to play with you.
You want to play a game?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
It is a game that I call True or False.
Oh, snap. And there's you can actually write true and false in a way that makes it seem like it's both words at the same time, and you can ace all your tests. Yes. Sort of.
So would that be Talse or...
True.
True.
No, it would be... The way you write it out, it's basically true and false at the same time, and you can look at it in both ways, and I thought that was cool for whenever I do a true-false test. Anyways, go on, Tim. What were your questions?
Okay, I'm not letting this go. Hold on a minute.
I will write it out for you some other time. High ground.
Okay, the problem is that true and false is like 1 and 0. They can't be the same.
Unless they can be quantum mechanics. Sort of. Maybe. I'm right. Face it.
No, you're not right. But this is not the time to be discussing quantum mechanics.
Anyways, true false questions, Tim. Just go on with it.
All right. So here's how the game works.
No.
Oh, okay. Then I guess we'll just go then.
Okay, go on, Tim. What were you about to not say and me interrupt you saying high ground?
High ground!
Go on.
So the way the game works is that I say 2 statements, one of which is true and one of which is false. And Nathaniel has to figure out which of them is true.
Oh, snap. But I'm always right, so I'll get this, definitely. I actually am completely unprepared, so I would have no idea what these questions are. Go on, Tim.
I would not say you're always right. I would say you're always left.
You took my pun. How dare you? Anyways.
Okay, so here's the first one.
No. False. True. I don't know. Go. Just do it. Do it.
Given the choice, this is an easy one, so you should get this one. Given the choice between root beer and Coke, I will take Coke any day of the week.
That is no. Oh wait. Am I guessing you? What your decisions would be?
You are guessing what I would choose,
Well,
but
root beer.
that's the first statement.
Okay.
You don't know if it's true or not
Okay.
because.
False. You take root beer.
Do you really think so?
I really think so because you're a nerd.
Do you want to wait until I say the second statement?
Fine. What's the start?
Okay, the second statement's a bit longer. It's actually a bit of a story.
Oh no.
So,
Once upon a time, when I was a young boy.
when I was a young warthog.
Anyways,
High ground.
High ground!
Go on, Tim.
When I was in 9th grade, I didn't have many friends. But there was this one friend who I was hanging out with one day, and our teacher just happened to be married to the 5th grade teacher. I will not say their names.
That spells trouble.
Anyway, we were talking to the 5th grade teacher, and she mentioned that we should prank her husband, who was our teacher at the time.
Oh, snap.
Being the kind of people that we were, we decided to go and tell our teacher about what she said. And
Little snitches.
what ended up happening was he just laughed about it, and he helped us figure out a way to get her instead of him.
Oh, snap.
So we looked on the websites, and we looked everywhere, and eventually found a prank that worked pretty darn well. What ended up happening was, during one of the basketball games that was happening at the time, me and my friend went to her room and tinfoiled everything. We tinfoiled the desks, we tinfoiled her desk, we tinfoiled the computer, we tinfoiled...
I guess you could say your teacher has been foiled again.
The one thing that I will mention, because this is important later, we tinfoiled the microwave, like the outside of the microwave.
Oh, snap.
We're not going to put tinfoil inside the
I was
microwave.
just saying, that's a stupid idea, Tim. Gosh.
We weren't stupid back then. We know what would happen.
Not too many people do, honestly. Go on, Tim.
I know, it's sad. Anyway, the other thing that we tinfoiled was we tinfoiled the tissue box in such a way that the tissues were still sticking out. That was my idea, and I thought it was a stroke of genius.
Good job, Tim.
So we go back downstairs to the basketball game, and we see her walking around collecting her students, and she looks extremely angry.
It's really because you meddled in her affairs. A meddle. A. Go on.
Yeah. Afterwards, we found out that she thought that one of her 5th grade students had done it, but no, it was us.
Yeah.
How we got away with it, however, was we just so happened to have a chemistry test the next day,
Okay.
and me and my friend and his older brother got into his older brother's van, all sneakily like and such.
Sneaky sneak.
Yes. And we went to a friend's house, and we all studied for our chemistry test. Next day in our humanities class, he tells us her experience getting all the tinfoil off everything, and she ended up finding out that it was us. Guess what gave us away?
What?
It was a tissue box.
Oh.
If I had covered the tissue box just like completely in tinfoil, she would have thought it was actually one of her 5th graders for real. Mm-hmm. But because it was wrapped in that way, she figured it was someone more elaborate.
Wow. You're still a nerd.
I never denied that I was a nerd.
Wow.
So.
Anyways, true-false questions. What does this have anything to do with root beer?
Now you have to figure out which of the statements is true.
Root beer.
Okay.
Root beer is you don't drink. Or what was the question? I don't even remember.
Okay. Again. Do you think the first statement is true, where I prefer Coke over root beer? Or the second statement is true, where I did this thing in 9th grade?
Oh, that made no sense. It's definitely the second thing.
You think that's the truth?
Maybe. Well, I know that you like root beer better than Coke, or I'm just assuming things, but I would say that the second thing is, I mean, now I'm doubting you. Gosh dang it, Tim. Why? I'm going to say that the second thing was true, the story.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer. That's my final answer.
Guess what? You're wrong.
Gosh dang it, Tim. I hate you. Gosh, why do you like Coke then?
Because Coke has caffeine. And as good as root beer is, it does not have caffeine.
What's the real story?
The real story is true. Well, the story is true, but it didn't happen in 9th grade.
Gosh dang it, Tim. That's why.
It happened in 10th grade.
I hate you too.
Okay, next round.
Gosh dang it. It's just... I don't even pay attention to it. You just made a big, long story and just completely negated the fact of... Just the next question. Just do it. Just... No.
Do it.
Do it.
High ground.
High ground!
I had a kid. I have the high ground.
High ground!
Okay, first statement. I have a specific preference in lighting, which differs from the rest of my family.
What do you mean, lighting?
Like when it comes to light bulbs, I prefer a softer light that ends up looking a little bit more blue than the warmer lights you typically see with houses that are built. You know, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I could say that you just need to lighten up, but, it really brightens my day. Go on, Tim.
I'd say I'm pretty soft because I prefer the softer lighting.
Okay. You're just going soft on me now.
Okay, that is the first statement. The second statement. Between coffee and tea.
I already know this.
I prefer coffee.
Oh, wow, it's definitely the first one. Come on, I was just going to say, you definitely prefer tea, so it has to be that first statement. I was just going to be like, we're literally in your room, and it's a softer lighting, so first statement, that was way too easy. If you, don't you, I am right on this. I will eat you.
Is that your final
answer? That is my final answer.
You're correct.
Thank you. Gosh. Suspenseful. I hate it. Do you have another question?
Yes. I will go one more question.
One more question.
In the year 2012, which was my senior year of high school, I went to Europe. I visited Rome, Florence, Paris, and London. The trip back was an absolute nightmare. That's the first statement.
Okay.
The second statement. Between airsoft and paintball, I prefer airsoft.
I'm kind of thinking it's the first one because you sometimes invite us to like paintball thingies and I never reply to them because that costs money. So, I would, I'm going to say...
What if I told you I had an airsoft gun?
I'm gonna say the first one's wrong. So I'm gonna say the second statement, the paintball one, that is true.
In the second statement I said I preferred airsoft.
Oh. Look, my memory's bad, okay?
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna say that the second statement is false and the first one's true. There we go. Okay, fine. There.
What's your reasoning behind that?
Because I would believe that you had one bad experience versus, I don't know, I actually have no idea. I just, nah.
You're just guessing at this
I
point?
literally am just guessing. Just say the answer, Tim. It's my final answer. Beep. Just pressing the button, the that was easy button. That was easy. I think that you had a nightmare at the thing, the trip. That was true.
Okay. The first statement is true.
Okay.
I actually prefer paintball because with paintball,
I knew it.
you can actually tell if you've hit somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And while it does give you welts if you get hit in the right places, it hurts a lot less than airsoft BBs do.
Yeah, I did an airsoft war one time, and it wasn't that bad, really. There was this one guy, I think his name... He basically had like this machine gun with airsoft pellets, but they weren't like the plastic ones. They were like the metal ones.
Jeez.
And he stayed, and we did capture the flag, and he stood literally right next to the flag and just shot people with the BB machine guns. And it was very unfair, but you know what? We still had fun. We ended up taking the flag because I'm freaking boss. And yeah.
You didn't have a sniper who had BBs?
No, we didn't have any sniper rifles, unfortunately. I took that one. And I was in other outposts at that time, and then I think I gave it to somebody else and took a pistol instead.
Why would you take a pistol? Pistols are so useless.
Well, like with the sniper one, you only could load like 4 or 5 in at a time versus the pistol you could load at least, I think it was 25 or something like that. You could load a lot more, so I chose more ammo than staying in one spot. Besides, everyone moved pretty dang quickly. It wasn't one of those stealth mission things, so I chose a pistol over that. That was only one-time thing. I usually am a sniper.
In the case of airsoft, I am definitely a sniper.
Mm-hmm. But I could beat you any day. Bring it on.
Do you want to do that?
Heck yeah.
Do you want to have an airsoft war?
High noon tomorrow. 10 paces away.
Sorry, I'm busy that day.
Go home. We are home.
I'm washing my hair.
Hairdly. Anyways, so...
That's funny because I practically have no hair. I usually shave my head.
Basically.
I'm the one who should be Nappa.
Vegeta.
Go home, Nappa.
Anyways, I really do have a bad memory.
Speaking of your bad memory, tell us about that.
Okay, well, we watched this video. It was relating men's and women's brains and how they relate things to it. Do you want to explain it, Tim?
Okay. So, the video basically talked about the difference between men's brains and women's brains. Men's brains are very simple. They have boxes. And everything goes in its respective box. You have a box for the car, you have a box for the finances, you have a box for the house, you have a box for this and a box for that. Women's brains are different. Women's brains are a bunch of connected wires. Everything is connected to each other with this energy called emotions. Your car is connected to the house, which is connected to the family, which is connected to this and connected to that. Yeah.
All right. So what's your brain like, Tim? Is it very like the stereotypical men's?
You could map my brain out on an Excel sheet. What is your brain like, Nathaniel?
Well, okay, this is kind of how I explain to people. I have an absolutely terrible memory. Anybody who's known me for even a small length of time probably knows this. I forget things like left and right, up and down, fourth dimensional. Past 2 years, I basically have a non-existent long-term memory. I only have some memories there. But I describe my brain like this. So there's men's brains who have the boxes. There's women's brains with everything connected. Mine is kind of like a combination of both. There's boxes. They're each in their very respective spots. But I can relate everything to each other very quickly in their respective categories. Now here's where it gets tricky. Sherlock lives in my brain. He basically goes around and takes a look at the boxes and is like, nope, don't need this, kicks it out, and I'm just like, no, I needed that, and he's like, I don't care. You want to know about the solar system? Nope! Kicks it out, and I'm just like, why? He's like, you don't need that. It's like, baby memories, aw, that's so nice, kick. So that's, Sherlock basically lives in my brain and kicks stuff out that he deems not useful, and it's kind of annoying sometimes, but, I've lived with it.
Did you really not know that the Earth revolves around the sun?
Look, I knew. Okay, there are some pieces of information I do like. Okay, there are a few pieces of information that I don't care about. Optical drives.
High ground.
High ground.
High ground!
Yeah, there are things that I don't care about at all. Honestly, this is one of them, is fashion. I really don't care about that. I wear white and black. It suits my personality, and it's, a little bit lighter than my soul, specifically the black. But there's just a couple things that I just don't really care too much about, and Sherlock kicks it out of my brain. So that's how I think.
I only work in black, and sometimes in really dark gray.
Nappa.
Well, I'm afraid that's going to have to do it for us today, guys.
Yeah. Oh, well. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.